What's going on, my good people? This your boy Lap Up the Entertainer, here to bring you some action between Southern University and Mississippi Valley. This is going to be an interesting band battle between both of these bands. This happened earlier in the year, so you can only imagine what that's going to be. I heard some things about it, a long time ago, but I never got a chance to check it out. I put it in my voters poll. I had some people vote for it. I had some people who didn't vote for it. But you kind of get what I'm getting at on this. So, if you're new to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. Okay? One thing I want to add as well that there's no favoritism at all. I really want both HBCU bands to succeed. One thing I want people to understand as well is that, when you look at band content, it's okay that if you are a part of the family, of that band, that you're very passionate about that band. That's understandable, okay? But one thing I don't like is when people accuse you of things which is not factual, So if you don't know your facts and if you're new to the channel and you're just assuming, I don't want to hear it in the comment section, okay? I don't want to hear it in the comment section, okay? So just want to throw that out there, it's all love here at the end of the day, and this is my first initial reaction to this battle, so I do not know what to expect either, okay? There was no zero quarter footage and there was no halftime footage, but they definitely had some fifth quarter footage from this battle. I don't know what happened with the halftime footage because they definitely dropped the ball on that. I would have loved to see the halftime footage of both of these bands for this battle, but it is what it is. All we got is fifth, so we will be grading fifth quarter for this. So definitely sit tight, again, ladies and gentlemen, this is my honest opinion. Now, this is the beginning of the year, so I'm not expecting either band to sound as clean as they can be, okay? This is not them at the end of the year when, things can be tighter. Okay, I definitely want to throw that out there. Okay, so that's definitely a thing, and hopefully, y'all won't get in y'all feelings about that. Okay, if I call something out, I call something out. Let's call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying? If it's not good, it's not good. All right. So with that being said, I really appreciate y'all. Look to the cards next to me so we'll be grading for fifth quarter. We're grading song selection, power, articulation, arrangement, overall cleanness. Maximum points they can make altogether is 50. Okay? It's a possibility that it could be a tight battle. It's a possibility that another band might destroy another band. It's a possibility that it might be a tie. Regardless, if it don't sound good, it don't sound good. And I'm going to try to spot it out as much as I can. I'm human. So don't be in the comments and be like, well, you didn't catch that part there. You didn't catch that part. Again, this is my first initial reaction to the battle. Okay? I might hear it later on when I'm editing in the video and be like, oh, well, that kind of did sound bad. Or that sounded real good there. I made a mistake. But I'm human. Okay? At the end of the day. So you can formulate your opinion down below. But at the end of the day, it's all love here. This is just my opinion. Okay? So with that being said, let's get into the action. Southern's first. Yeah, something. That's what I'm talking about. They came with that oomph, fam. They came with that oomph. That's a good way to start the battle right there. That's that shit right there. Give that shit a Ric Flair moment. Woo! You talking about intensity? That's that shit right there. That's that shit right there. Alright, moving on. Alright, Valen, this is what y'all got. Hey, look, valid pen on that was crucial. Valid pen on that was super crucial, very technical piece. I'm gonna give it almost a perfect. Almost a perfect. There was just some parts that can be just a little bit tighter. A little bit tighter. That's just me though. It was just some parts in there that can just be a little sprucing up with just the runs. It was a little bit with the trombones as well, just small attacking issues as well. But very clean for the majority. It just needs just a little bit more on it, a little bit more of a touch on that. Now I can't get mad at them because this is the beginning of the year, so that's very impressive for them to be playing something like that. Very good. Moving on. Hey. Super Saiyan in this thing, man. Give that shit a Ric Flair moment. Woo! Oh my gosh, that was nice. I gotta give him a pin for that one too. That shit was nice. Woo, Southern. Southern, man. Woo, when they get going, man. Oh man, that's nice. That is nice. Now, one thing I would say, you had some people who came in just a tad bit early. It wasn't too noticeable. They kind of snuck in a little early, if that makes sense. And that's the only thing I would say as far as critique, though. But that's a very solid arrangement. I love that from Southern. Moving on. Alright, let's get that a grade. Almost a perfect. Almost a perfect. And the only reason why I give them almost a perfect is their high brass. Their high brass started missing. Their high brass started missing. When they try to take it up, and I say this, just because you can play high doesn't mean it sound good. It didn't sound good. It just sounded like they were squealing over there, dog. So, besides that, though, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. They definitely had that power. That power was crucial. That power was crucial. I just felt like, it was just some parts in there that can just be a tad bit better with the high brass. But almost a perfect. Moving on. Southern. Alright, song selection is 10, power is 10, articulation is 10, arrangement is 10. Cleanness, I'm going to give them a 9. Almost a perfect. There's some parts in there that can be a little way better. It's more so, it's there, but it's not there. You know, the sound is there, the presence is there. It's just, it can be tighter. It can be tighter. So, you know, that's what I would give them on that. So almost a perfect. Almost. Moving on. Alrighty. Almost a perfect. Same thing like I said with Southern earlier. They have it. It's just not as tight as it can be. You know, definitely a good arrangement, strong arrangement. You know, very powerful piece. The presence is there. It's just small parts can be cleaner. Small parts, the the execution, if that makes sense. It's just in different parts of the band. You know, so almost a perfect. Moving on. say power? Can you say power? Alright. Sun selections 10, powers 10, articulations 10, arranges 10, cleanness is a 9. Almost a perfect. Those runs switching from part A to part B of the arrangements, you know, you can tell. And so some runs and some parts in there as far as attacking as well that can be a tad bit cleaner as well. It's there, but it's not there, if that makes sense. So it's almost a perfect. Almost a perfect. Moving on. Alright. Let's get that a grade. Sound selections 10, powers 10, articulations 10, arrangements 10, cleanness is an 8. Alright, they got a 48 on that one. Alright. Now, they had their moments, they was doing good, but when we got to that middle of that arrangement, it got bad real quick. It got bad real quick, so, you know, hey, it is what it is, you know. Again, this is the beginning of the year. This is the beginning of the year. I'm very impressed for the consistency for both of these bands, but like I said, this is the beginning of the year. Alright? So, yeah, it happens. Moving on. High brass. Woo! Need work on that. Southern, bruh. Oh my goodness. Sound selections 10, powers 10, articulations 10, arrangements 10, cleanness. Cleanness a 9. Almost a perfect. Almost a perfect. They got to work on attacking a little bit more together. There's some parts that can be just a tad bit tighter. Almost a perfect. Moving on. Look like this is going to be the last round. Yep. And then Valor's going to close us out with one more. Was not expecting this response. Alrighty, let's get that a grade. So, sound selection, I'm gonna give them a 9. Powers 10. Articulations 10. Arrangements 10. Cleanness, I'm gonna give them an 8. Okay, they got a 47 on that one. Song selection 1. Was not expecting it as a response against what Southern just did. You know, I feel like we kind of died out of that and went to something else. So you gotta treat these battles like a DJ as well. If you know what the crowd is feeling, you know what the crowd is feeling, and I felt like they kind of missed their mark on that. Also with that song, it need to be worked on a lot. You know, there was some parts in there that can be a tad bit better, but also a little bit sprucing up as well. Again, this is beginning of the year. You know, this is the beginning of the year, so it is what it is. So, alrighty, moving on. letter grade. Sound selection is 10, power is 10, articulation is 10, arrangement is a 10, cleanest, I'm going to give them an 8. We got a 48 on that one. Alright. It just, parts need to be better, people hanging over, etc. So, it's some stuff that just need to be sprucing up on it. You know, I almost gave arrangement a 9 because it felt like it was a loop, but there was some parts to make it sound a little bit stronger than just a basic loop, so I gave them a 10. But yeah, I could definitely tell this is the beginning of the year. Yeah. Alright. So, who won this battle, ladies and gentlemen? Who won this battle? It was an interesting battle. It was close for a while, but then it was a big dip close to the end of the battle. You know, it was close, but then that lead became a strong lead. Okay. And I got to give this battle to Southern University. Alright? So, I feel like Southern was stronger than Valley simply because, you know, they just had a cleaner sound also, and they had stronger arrangements as far as them carrying them. Okay? The consistency for that band was there. Okay? Even though they got 2 perfects, they end up getting almost perfects the last 3 songs they played. You know, I would say Valley was doing good at first. They just got to be cleaner. Now, they had some real strong pieces they pulled out in this battle. I got to give them this. Now, if I was grading a different scale and we was saying that this was the stand battle scale, then Valley would have had some significant points because of the arrangements that they played. Valley had some strong arrangements in the beginning of this battle. Very definitely did, but the band was not truly ready to present it, you know, at the moment. So if they pulling this out early, I can only imagine what it's going to sound like later on this season for them. Okay? So, yeah, I got to give this one to Southern. Southern just did it. Now, unfortunately, like I said, they could have got more grace points back if we would have had some halftime footage, but that's all I could find. All I could find was 5th quarter, so that's my verdict, ladies and gentlemen. That is my verdict. So I really appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing your boy some love, man. I'm finna get up out of here, man. And like I tell you always, deuces.